Ghosted my 25 female boyfriend, 43 male, of 1 year who I believe I was in a trauma bond with. We dated for a year. At first, he was crazy about me. The way he looked at me told me he liked me way before he ever did. Soon after we started getting serious, he became hot and cold. One day he was telling me I'm the best he's ever had and he can't wait to move in together, talking about a future, etc. Then the next he would go completely silent. We could have the best time together and I'd wake up to messages saying what an amazing time he had with me and then nothing. Sometimes for days, other times for weeks. I tried my best to give him the benefit of the doubt. He was always busy, and I told him I understood, but a good morning, good night text or some form of communication would go a long way. He told me from the beginning of our relationship he wanted open and honest communication, yet anytime I needed to talk he just shut down. I told him it confused me when he would go weeks without talking to me but insist nothing was wrong. Or when he would read my texts and never reply. He told me he understood and it was just a miscommunication. He promised to work on it, yet nothing ever changed. I started to notice a pattern that he only really wanted me when it was convenient for him and he could get me in bed. Then one night we had made love and had a few drinks. We were sitting on the couch cuddling up and laughing and talking. I told him I love him for the first time and he broke out the whole, "I could never love you the way you deserve to be loved," and stated he is emotionally unavailable, and that's kind of when I knew there was no hope. It sucked, but I told myself people don't fall in love at the same rate. Despite all the clear signs he gave me I love him and wanted to make things work. I created a fallacy in my mind that if I could be the perfect girlfriend he would love me. Part of me kept hanging on because when it was good it was really good. But the issue was that was maybe 10% of the time. The other 90% I noticed myself feeling anxious and depressed. Feelings no one should ever associate with love. In hindsight it was a trauma bond. He would love bomb me, then pull away repeatedly. I tried to justify it by acknowledging that he had childhood trauma and attachment issues. I tried to be there for him, and I also tried not being there for him. When he needed space I gave it even though it hurt me. When he needed attention I was always available. We spent the night together 3 weeks ago and then he didn't talk to me for 2 weeks after. That whole night he was talking about how we fit together perfectly, and telling me out of every woman he's ever met I'm the best. He was so happy the morning after and then it's like he hated me. He wouldn't call me and wouldn't see me in person, so I sent him a text asking what was wrong to which he said, "Nothing." I tried texting him a few more times and would get a half-hearted response followed by silence. 2 days ago I decided this relationship isn't worth my peace and went completely ghost. I know that's wrong in most situations, but he has left me to deal with his absence and silence so many fucking times. I want him to see what it feels like to have your existence ignored. It didn't take him long to text me. It is completely out of character for me, and I'm surprised by it myself. So far he has messaged me twice asking if I'm okay. I haven't responded or actually read the messages. He has had mutual friends reach out to me. I have no intention of replying to anyone right now or maybe ever. Deep down I want closure and to let him know what happened, but I feel like telling him he has hurt me will just give him the power back. I know he doesn't care and it's not going to change anything. As far as I'm concerned he's texting me out of curiosity rather than genuine concern. I feel the need to give him an explanation that I believe he doesn't want to hear, and I don't know why. Right now I feel like I somewhat have my dignity, and it feels good. Should I ever reply to him again, or should I just let it go? Was he married? Kind of sounds like the way a married man acts when he is having an affair. Please let it go. Congrats on getting yourself out of there. Please consider therapy to explore what happened here and your thoughts, feelings around the relationship to start your healing and growth. Anyone else reading this? This is why we instantly tell women to break up with men 10, 15, or nearly 20 years older than they are early in their relationships. Deep down I want closure and to let him know what happened, but I feel like telling him he has hurt me will just give him the power back. This really stuck out to me because it's so relatable. I personally think you should stay strong. You know you deserve better. I think you'll only end up regretting reopening communication again. I think you're 100% correct in handling this with ghosting. I normally hate ghosting, but you very clearly have his attention now, only when you don't speak to him. Sorry he treated you like this. I'm proud of you for getting out. Let it go. You made some mistakes in the past I'll say, but everyone does. All I'll say is you handled it perfectly. No need to give him any explanation, he doesn't deserve it. What you're doing is perfectly fine. Once you talk to him, you'll keep repeating it. Not for everyone, but a lot of older guys don't really get with younger girls for love. Please be alert and take care. Run. You did the right thing. Closure doesn't exist. It may have been a trauma bond for you. He on the other hand is textbook narcissistic, sociopathic. Don't reply to him. He is dangerous. I have left an abusive relationship too. This is emotional abuse and unacceptable. My ex-husband was abusive in every aspect. When you want to respond to him, please come message me. I mean that with my whole heart. Leaving him, well, I thought it would kill me. Turned out to be the best decision I ever made. The offer will stand, always. You need someone to talk to? You feel weak and think of going back? Know your worth, beauty, and message me. I am Candace and am here for you anytime. You're doing the right thing. I'm proud of you. Recently broke up with my long-term boyfriend, 35 male. Because he couldn't commit, 32 female. I created a throwaway because X browses Reddit. I met the man of my dreams 4 years ago and we've been inseparable ever since. He's perfect in every way except for the fact he's scared of marriage. Growing up, I always wanted to have a family and a husband, partner in crime. My parents have a great relationship and have showed me the meaning of love and commitment. We've talked about marriage several times and he always says it's not something he absolutely needs in life. He says that the government shouldn't play a role in our relationship. I understand that perspective, but for me marriage means security. It means always having someone on your side and someone to give you a hug after a hard day. It means not giving up when things get tough, and agreeing to always put in work to make things better. It means having someone to celebrate some victories with. Just knowing that person will be in your future, it would help me feel less vulnerable and more reassured. I had hoped that he would change his stance on this as our relationship progressed, and in some ways he did. He recently said he's not against it at all and that it might be an option in a few years. But I've gotten to the point now where I'm scared I'm wasting time. What if he decides after all that he's not interested in marriage? What if I stay with him for 4 more years waiting for him to change his mind and he never does? I've been a wreck lately because, on one hand he is my best friend and I couldn't imagine my life without him. But on the other hand I shouldn't have to compromise on having a family. Just like he shouldn't have to compromise on marriage if it's not what he wants. It came to a head a few days ago. A lot of our friends are married already with kids, and the remaining unmarried friends are engaged. I mentioned one of our friends had gotten engaged and my ex looked at me and just said, "I'm sorry." I asked him what he meant and he clarified that he was sorry to be causing me so much pain by his indecisiveness. I told him that I can't wait forever, it's not fair to me. He agreed but didn't say much else. I started getting upset and asked him to leave. He has his own apartment but usually stays at my house. He sat on the couch with a blank look staring at the wall like he didn't know what to say. I told him I need to move on and find someone who wants a family. I've never thought ultimatums were fair, so I didn't want to go that route. We've already been together a long time, so what would change? I ended it with him on a whim. Wasn't thinking clearly and obviously was quite emotional. He left on Wednesday and I hoped that he would call me to say he missed me, or some sort of outreach, but nothing. He finally texted me today saying that he's heartbroken and lost and he can't see a future without me, but still nothing about marriage. I'm numb right now and I don't know how to proceed. I love him more than anything and I know he loves me, it seems impossible to just move on. I guess I just wanted to post this because I don't have a lot of friends to talk to about it. Wondering if there are others in this sub who have been in a similar situation. And if so, what was the outcome? Sorry for the rant, I'm having a really hard time processing everything at the moment. You did the right thing. Give him back his things and cut all ties. You do not want to be exactly where you are with him when you're 35, 37, 40. It sucks. But both of you expect 2 different things in life. He doesn't want to get married but want to be with you. You want marriage and want a family. I think you did the right thing here. You didn't want to waste his time since you want other things in life and it sucks he wasted your time, but now you can find someone that wants the same thing. You're incompatible. I'm sorry but he literally has the keys to break through this. You did the right thing. Hey, I'm sorry to hear this, and I hope whatever you decide is the right path for you. He doesn't sound like the typical jerks I read about on here, so I know you must be in pain. Big hugs to you. No real advice here, except to be strong. He just seems terrified of commitment on a level one rarely see. You know what you want and I'm glad to see someone actually push for the things they want in life. I'm sorry all this happened to you, but in your place, I'd always have to wonder just how committed he could be if he only feels safe when he always wants one foot out of the door. You need someone who can commit to you. Stay strong. Don't compromise on your values for someone that doesn't share them. Even if he does show up today with a ring, why would you want to be with someone that made you leave them before they realized they wanted to marry you? His excuses were BS. If he wanted to, he would. Marriage isn't for everyone, and that's okay. But it's clearly something you want, and as much as this hurts right now, it's the best thing for both of you. He was going to keep dancing around, and so were you. Someone had to shit or get off the pot. It sucks, it's raw, but this too shall pass, and it will be better for both of you in the long run. I feel for you. I'm in somewhat of a boat similar, but I broke things off much earlier. I would like nothing more than my significant other to contact me and give me the things I need for our relationship to go on. But who knows if that will happen, but I'm not caving on the things I want. Be strong, don't settle. You're doing the right thing. I, 41M, unconsciously make observational commentary. Wife, 41F, gets upset by it. I have an unconscious habit of verbalizing whatever I'm observing at the moment. Like I'll say, that's a big bug, or, the sky is so blue today, or, this soap makes a strong lather. My wife will usually respond with, what do you want me to do about it? Or she'll start rambling off her reasons why she bought that soap versus another soap. We've had a number of conversations on this. When I say these things, they have absolutely zero motive or implied message. And it doesn't make sense to her. She says, then why say anything at all if you're not secretly trying to get me do something or secretly trying to tell me something uncomfortable? I've made many efforts to curb this behavior, and I've made some progress, but I can't get rid of it entirely. If it slips out, usually it's greeted with a, yeah, so, and forgotten about. But often I'll say something like, oh, there's a chip in the paint, and she'll get furious that I'm making it her problem to fix. I'm not. Or I'll say, oh, a second helping of dinner. It must be hitting the spot. And she'll run off crying because I am judging how much she eats. When she runs off, I'll apologize and say, I'm sorry. You know I didn't mean anything by that comment. It was just a meaningless observation in the moment and I didn't catch myself. But lately she's been telling me it's all too much. She says she doesn't believe me anymore. I'm gaslighting her. I've been an asshole all along and she's the fool. She can't take it how I keep burdening her with all my problems with such cold and heartless casualness. And that she feels worthless because I'm constantly judging her. For me it feels all too surreal because I'm thinking, when did I make that your problem? And, what do you mean I'm judging you? I love the way you are you. When she says I'm cold, calculating, judging and I hold grudges for years, I'm like, ah. You're talking about me? I'm the biggest dopiest nerd who ever lived, and I chronically assumes the best in people. Even when my friends say I'm an idiot. Is it possible to be cold, calculating, and hold grudges without knowing it? What should I do? Update. To clarify, I don't go around constantly making commentary. That is obnoxious, as many have pointed out. It's much more an occasional small talk kind of thing. For example, if my wife and I are going for a walk and not saying anything, I might start verbalizing what I'm seeing. Also, I have been working on watching what I say. I've gotten much better at qualifying my statements. If I'm just making commentary and don't expect anything from my wife, I make sure to say so. I can definitely see how those examples, chip in the paint, extra dinner, are coming off as passive-aggressive to her. Part of the problem is that you aren't seeing the extra layers of connotation in what you say, and part of the problem is that she's choosing to interpret you in the least charitable way. You're gonna have to meet in the middle somehow. I know it gets said a lot on here, but this sounds like a job for marriage counseling. You two are having a series of misunderstandings and miscommunications that could possibly be resolved if you had a neutral third party observing and helping. Mate, just shut the F up. You are responsible for what comes out of your mouth. She is responsible for her reaction. You are policing her reaction to your endless commentary. She's over it. I know this because my husband does the same. All day long. He ruins entire movies with his observational commentary, then gets offended when I won't watch with him or refuse to go to the movie theater with him. Please seek help, both individually and together. And take responsibility for yourself, it's not all her fault. My ex used to do this and it drove me insane. 23 male and I'm 27 female. Not only did he make random unnecessary commentary that didn't warrant any sort of response, but he would also get upset if I just didn't say anything at all. Have you spoken to your doctor or a therapist about this? Sounds like some type of verbal impulse control issue. Any history of ADHD? If you really can't control your ongoing verbal monologue, I'd reach out for an evaluation and hopefully find some ways to turn your running dialogue into an internal one. This sounds like it would be very frustrating for your wife, and I could see it being an issue at work and in other social settings if you can't control verbalizing whatever comes to mind. I mean, that does sound annoying AF. I really don't get why some of these comments are so aggressive towards you. My therapist told me, if I believe someone is trying to hint at some issue but that person tells me there is no issue, then I should take that at face value and let it go. If you have repeatedly told her that you're just making observations and not passive-aggressive attacks on her, then she needs to accept that rather than assuming the worst every single time, especially since you have said it is hard for you to control these thoughts. I definitely think this is a bigger issue to be sorted out in counseling, and maybe a therapist can help you guys find a middle ground that works for both of you. How do people at work view these comments? G.F. had secret lunch with guy we know. Update at bottom. And #X200B. My G.F., 21 female, and I, 23 male, met at work about a little over a year ago and started dating about a month later. She moved in with me about 6 months ago and I know that she might be the one. We work in a retail store with 90% male customers. We are on a commission-based salary and she's really beautiful and an extrovert. I'm used to seeing flirting and guys asking her out almost every day. I don't let it bother me. I realize that most of these guys have no idea that we live together. Well, Thursday we were working together and a couple of coworkers had called in sick and the manager asked if I could work through my lunch break and I said no problem. We always go back to our apartment and eat lunch together. She said that she would make me lunch and bring it back for me. When she got back from lunch she didn't have my lunch with her and said that she totally forgot to bring it. I was like, okay, and didn't question it any further. Then yesterday a friend of mine from way back texted me and asked if I was still dated the girl at the store. I said yes and then he told me that he saw her having lunch with this guy David. David is a guy who is a friend of one of our other coworkers. David knows that my G.F. and I are together and he was in the store just before my G.F. went home for lunch. I confronted her last night when I got home and she claims that she just ran into him when she was leaving and he invited her to lunch and nothing happened or is going on. I was pissed off because he was in the store again today talking with her and acting shady, so I got his number from my coworker and called him right then with her in the room. He was like, chill out dude. I didn't do anything with her. And I was like, what the fuck are you doing asking my girl to go out to eat? He claimed nothing was going on, but before he hung up, he said, be careful dude, you girl is playing you. She slept on the sofa last night and still claims she did nothing wrong. She's at work today, while have the day off. Not sure what to say when she gets home. Update. Well, my coworker called me when he got off and came clean with me that she has been seeing this guy for a few weeks. He has actually seen text exchanges between them. When she arrived home I already had most of her stuff piled by the door. She tried to act like she was the victim and he made her confused. She loaded her car up and cried about being homeless because of me. I now have 30 unread messages from her. And #X200B. Update. Bravo. This is how you deal with toxic people. I've been you before and I've been David before. Ask him why he thinks she's playing you? Forgetting your lunch meant she wasn't thinking about you during that moment. I would move on. She is for the streets. Just end it, she belongs to the streets. Why couldn't she have just been up front when it happened instead of lying about, forgetting, to make your lunch? That's what's really suspicious. These situations are difficult. I've been in your shoes, but naturally take this advice with a pinch of salt. What she did is fucked up. Her not apologizing is a pretty bad sign too. But the main point here is your own boundaries. You need to decide what you will accept in your life, not what she can do. If you decide I don't want to date someone who goes out to eat with other dudes, calmly explain that. Hey, whether you felt like you were in the right or wrong, I am not okay with that. If she says, my bad, won't happen again, problem solved. If she goes for the excuses, tries to deflect or whatever, then you better respect your own boundaries and get to steppin'. Curious what she texted, was it a confession? A cheater, a liar and unrepentant. This is an awful and trustworthy person. You can do better.